Welcome back, friends and scoundrels. I'm Bran,
And I'm Lynne.
and this is our podcast thing. This is Weird Cat Gaming, and this is our podcast portion. That sounds more professional. Anyways, today we are talking about games that we've given the boot to so far. So not just in 2023.
Over our entire gaming. Because there's really not a lot, because we generally research our games pretty heavily before we buy them.
And we have to be frugal about our gaming expenses.
And
generally.
That's why we research them pretty heavily.
Some of our hobbies get a little out of hand pretty quick.
Fishing?
No, I was keeping it in gaming.
Oh, I was talking about the $6 lure you threw away.
Which one?
Exactly.
Anyways, so this is over the span of our board gaming hobby. Oh, maybe I should have. I didn't really get into that though. We'll give it an honorable mention at the end.
I know what you're talking about, so I guess I'll figure it out at the end too.
There you go. Let's kick it off with the big one.
Sure,
Literally.
Sure, let's kick it off with the big one.
Which is out of frame at the moment. It's Casting Shadows. Which, if you're watching this now, is still up on eBay. So if you'd like a copy of it. Are we going in order of our notes or what?
Yeah, let's go in order of our notes.
Okay.
It'll be less confusing that way.
Good. So, Casting Shadows by Unstable Games.
Congratulations! That's the first time you haven't called it Unstable Unicorns.
I'm getting there. One day, I'll know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we backed this one on Kickstarter.
Because we like Unstable Games a lot.
We do.
The stuff that they've published so far, and we really wanted to support them.
And we like the style, and it sounded fun. Getting out of the card game, the strictly card game realm.
And a skirmish game that you would theoretically be interested in.
Yes. However, I think our expectations were too high for it, but it didn't live up to it. I played it a couple times. I played it solo.
Played it a lot of times.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to me.
Yeah, and I had to force myself to play it every time.
Yeah, and that's not really something you want out of a game.
No.
Although I think this, like most of their games, the ones that we've played so far, would probably work a lot better with more people, which we don't usually have. It's either 2 or 3 of us usually playing it.
Yeah.
Which is why we don't ever get Here to Slay or Unstable Unicorns out, because it's a lot better 4 or more. I think 5 or more. But
either way, it's not great at 2, which is our 2 or 3, which is our usual player count. And I think you're right. I think at 2 or 3, we never got a chance to play this at a higher player count, but it might have been better. But even then, it wouldn't be worth it to keep because of how little we actually play with that player count.
It also feels like it's missing something or 2 somethings in the functionality of it. Like there's a mechanic or 2 that could potentially be there. Not like they decided to take them out or anything. It just feels like it's lacking something.
Yeah.
And then my last note on it is it'd probably be a little bit more enjoyable if you could do an adventure co-op type of game with it instead.
Yeah, I would love to see an actual adventure game in the Here to Slay or the Casting Shadows universe.
Or a crossover. So that was our first one, Casting Shadows. And we, despite wanting to, one, didn't have the means to at the time. Also, are a little bit leery of getting in some of their other games. Because they just had another Kickstarter recently.
They did. Command of Nature, I think it was called.
Yeah.
But it's a deck builder, which, if you've listened to our July wrap-up, I've kind of gone off those. So.
And I was never really big on deck builders at all. It's okay sometimes in some ways, but
Yeah.
That's a whole nother episode.
That is another discussion. So shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah. So Star Wars Imperial Assault is the next one on the list. I suppose that's actually the biggest one.
This is the biggest one, and it's the biggest bummer too.
I think it was also our first game, like outside of classics and the traditional.
I attribute Funkoverse to our game that got us into the hobby because that's actually the one we got first. Someone got me Harry Potter for my birthday.
Was it?
Yep.
But yeah, this one, anyways.
Anyway.
As you were saying.
As I was saying. As you were saying?
No, you were saying.
Was I saying?
Yeah. You're first. Purple's first.
Oh, purple's first. Yeah, we really like Star Wars. And these,
In case you can't tell by the friends and rebels.
Yeah.
Scoundrels.
Scoundrels.
Friends and scoundrels. I know who you are.
And if you know our pets, you'd know that too. But, and I like the dungeon crawlery, adventure type games. I really like those.
Well, it's a nice stand-in for Dungeons and Dragons a lot of times too.
Yes. But I really enjoy those games, and I really wanted to enjoy this. I wanted something that we could play like that in the Star Wars universe.
Could be it. Could have been it.
Yeah, it could have been it. But, because we ended up buying everything for it.
The core and all the expansions and all the minis to go with the expansions. I didn't get any of the expanded mini packs, other than Hera and Chopper, and I wanted 000 and the other evil R2. I forget his name. BT something, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that was it for the expanded ones. Everything else was essential to the game.
But every time we got this out, it's like we had to relearn the game every time.
Part of that was not playing regularly.
Because, I mean, it's a lot to get out. It is, and each expansion added something to it. It always felt like a hassle.
Yeah, it was every expansion and a lot of the packs, the mini packs, added extra rules all the time too. And I know they're a big company, but get your stuff together, Fantasy Flight. Your rule books are badly written and confusing, and it's difficult when you have to jump around between several different books to try to figure out how your game is supposed to work.
And it's 1v all, which we tend to not like. Because we fight over who has to be the one. Because
I didn't mind being the Empire.
Did you mind being the Empire?
No.
I thought you did.
I mean...
Well, then I retract everything I've just said.
I got Darth Maul, so that was okay.
I forgot to play with him, just like I got Harry, but I never got to play with her.
Yeah.
And that was part of it, because you have to do these missions to unlock them, and I'm like, I just want to play with Hera and Kanan.
And it's not even like you actually get to play with them. They're side characters.
Exactly.
They're sidekicks.
Exactly. But with the app or other things, they made it so you can co-op it and solo, which I tried once. And you had to make too many decisions for the Empire. It felt like I was just playing against myself rather than actually playing solo with
an AI.
An AI. Because I did try it solo to see if we could keep it for that, but it's
too much.
Yeah.
It was just too much game, and we especially at that time didn't have time, but getting a little bit better now, but now we've got Gloomhaven.
Now we've got Gloomhaven.
So, which might barely be on screen.
One of them might be.
Oh yeah, it's right there.
It didn't feel intuitive to play either. We had to keep referencing a bunch of rules every time because we got confused by so much.
And it just wasn't explained very well how a lot of those things are supposed to work.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of digging and bouncing around, which kind of had to do with Jaws of the Lion a little bit too.
Yeah.
Not quite as bad, but some things could be compacted and streamlined quite a bit. I said it's kind of a problem all throughout Fantasy Flight games, and we'll hit that again in another game in a while.
But that's all I've got to say about that one. It was disappointing because I wanted to play as my favorite characters running around in the Star Wars universe, and this wasn't it.
Yeah.
But I wish it was.
Yeah, I don't even know what other game on the market would replace it, because there's plenty of card games, but I don't necessarily care about that. And
Rebellion.
Forget what Rebellion is. Not like an RPG. Oh, I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Tiny epic stuff.
You skipped one deck dungeon just because I didn't have any notes on it.
I didn't see it because it blended in because there weren't any notes on it, and I put it at the end.
So one deck dungeon. I got this one a while ago. We got the expansion too, and
we got it off one of the trade groups, didn't we?
No, we got it from our FLGS, and I played it a lot because I did enjoy it. Get to roll the dice, the dungeon crawliness of it, but it lost. I lost the enjoyment of it. Maybe because I played it too much, but it started to feel samey and unenjoyable, and I just wasn't playing it anymore. So we got rid of it. It's not that it didn't get played. I just played it.
Got played.
I played it out.
I suppose that makes sense, because that was mostly you decision. I just supported you on it.
Yeah, because you still enjoyed it, but you didn't play it as much as I did. No. I had played it out.
And if you decided tomorrow that you wanted to get it, provided we have the funds, I'd be okay with that. We've got plenty enough other stuff now that you can at least vary it. That might have been part of the problem. There wasn't a whole lot of solo stuff to play at the time. So that was over a year ago.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I would get it again, because if I want a game where I get to chuck a bunch of dice, I'm going to do Sagrada.
Dice Miner.
Kill
Team.
No. And Dungeon Crawlers, I've now got tons of Gloomhavens and Keep the Heroes out.
Battle Yahtzee.
Yeah. I'm okay that it's gone. I don't see us getting it again. It's a good game. I enjoyed it while we had it.
Now it's all you, because I didn't get a chance to play any of these games, so I have no input.
So Tiny Epic Dinosaurs, it was our first worker placement, because we hadn't had any worker placements, and this one was on sale, and it had the dinosaur theme, so the kids said they would play it, which was a lie.
As usual.
And I enjoyed the few times I played it with Sarah, but I predominantly end up playing games solo, and I didn't care for the solo mode in this game.
Yeah, because it's hard to play with the kids when they're at school.
Yeah. So when we got other worker placement games, I decided to get rid of it because I was no longer choosing to pull it off the shelf, so it was just taking up space.
Yeah. Not a lot of space.
No, not a lot of space.
And then there was Tiny Epic Tactics.
It was taking up space in my mind more than anything, because I was feeling guilty that I wasn't playing it. And then the other Tiny Epic game we got rid of was Tiny Epic Tactics. This was another one that the kids said they would play with me, and they didn't. It's only got just running through the same dungeon over and over again in the solo, essentially, and I didn't enjoy that at all.
I'll take your word for it.
So I got rid of it. Again, because the solo mode wasn't something I enjoyed, and nobody played it with me.
I thought somebody jumped up behind me. It's an assassin.
No, he's just pouting because I haven't given him treats now. And then Ascension. We had several of these because I was really into deck builders when we first got in, and I really enjoyed Ascension, but as I said in our last podcast, I've gone with deck builders. We I've got the app for it, and I've got all the versions that I own physically on the app.
Yeah.
So I just play it.
Point.
Yeah, I just play it on the app. I kept War of Shadows, but I'm actually have decided just today that it's just taking up space on my shelf. Yeah. No, not just now. I thought about it earlier because I was cleaning the shelves and I'm like, I'm gonna get rid of this because I'm never gonna play it.
Yeah.
Again, I've got the app. That's where I'm gonna play it.
And for me, I'm just not into card games in general. I'll play Pokemon. That's about it.
See, I like card games like Truffle Shuffle. That's a card game. I like it. Fox in the Forest, The Crew. I like card games.
When I say card game, I mean...
You mean deck builders?
Deck builders, set collection, and... Not set collection. Trading card games. Collectible card games.
I was saying, you can't say you don't like card games. We like Lord of the Rings, and you just found Scout.
Right. Finally. Backtrack a little bit. I already mentioned Casting Shadows was for sale. We've sold some of Imperial Assault and traded off the 2 tiny games and donated Ascension stuff to the library.
Oh, yeah. So, X-Men Mutant Insurrection. This was one we picked up on impulse. It was on sale on Miniature Market. Super cheap.
Yeah, and X-Men is one of our top 5 IPs.
Yeah.
Easily. And it looked at... This is the other Fantasy Flight game also. And there were a lot of good things about it, just didn't do it as well as some other games.
Yeah, there were some good things to it, like Bran said, but it's too similar to Elder Signs, and Elder Signs did it better. So it wasn't worth keeping just for the IP because there were so many frustrations, and we
were home rolling a lot of stuff just to make it work a lot better and to make it more interesting and a little bit more challenging.
So this one ended up donated to our local library as well. I really want a good X-Men game.
Yeah, that's another one that, like, for me is maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe top 3 IP.
It is top 3, top 1. I love X-Men. Like, I wish some of... I'm going to get off topic a little bit here real quick. I wish some of the Marvel games would just have X-Men ones, so I didn't have to get base boxes, which a bunch of Avengers I don't care about.
Yeah, a bunch of...
Like Marvel Champions. Marvel Champions. I do not want all the Avengers. I just want X-Men. I would play Marvel Champions if I could just have the X-Men.
If it was X-Men Champions?
Yes, but I don't want, like, anybody who comes in the base box. Everybody I want is in a separate pack, so it's not worth it.
Which is a good... I mean, I know getting the base box, but you can make the base box like villains or something only, and then
even if the base box was a base X-Men, I'd get it then. But I don't want Captain Marvel and Iron Man and Spider-Man because I just don't care.
You know what I want? X-Men Legends. I just want X-Men Legends, but in a board game. Or to get X-Men Legends again, that would scratch the itch.
Let's go get a PlayStation.
I think we kind of shuffled through. We don't need to get in all my stuff. That one we donated said that Trails.
So Trails, I originally got Trails because I wanted Parks, but couldn't afford it. So I got Trails. I got Trails free in the meantime. And it's a fun game, but now that I have Parks, I'm not going to play Trails, so it got donated to the local library.
I only played it the one time just to see what it was like, because you made me.
Yep, just so you could say something here.
Like, we didn't even actually finish that game, because it was late, and, like you described this as just an activity.
Yeah.
And at that point, it was beyond just an activity.
And it was more disappointing because we had just finished playing Parks, so we were coming right off the back.
That high. We were coming down, and it was not looking good. But I think it being called an activity works well enough as a description, and it's funny because games like Yahtzee and Dice Thrones a bit less of a thing to just do, even though you're essentially just chucking dice and rearranging them.
Yeah.
There's at least some thought that goes into what you're doing, some deeper thought into what you're doing, into your strategy of how to make it all work and still get all the things. As far as Yahtzee goes, Battle Yahtzee is a different matter. Donated that one to the library too. Okay, Mr. Jack.
Mr. Jack.
You don't have a whole lot on this one either.
I do not have a whole lot on this one because this was not my game.
It was one that was supposed to be for me, and while I was working on this, I did some research to find something, but it wasn't enough as a game. It was very underwhelming, and despite the the theme of the material of the game, it being about Jack the Ripper, and it wasn't really. It could have been anything.
Yeah. The 3 games I played exactly the same.
Yeah. It's way too easy to outmaneuver the other person, which is pretty much all you're doing. And it, like, a little bit of luck to it. I don't know, just wasn't there. I think I only played it the one time for the Learn to Play for the channel, and then we got rid of it. No, we still have it technically, don't we?
Yeah, we still have it technically. It's another donating to the library.
Which is coming up next. So we'll do that. But I forgot how I was going to maneuver into that. But like I said, I did a little bit of research to find something. I think Letters from Whitechapel might be a little bit more up the alley of what I was looking for. But we'll never get it probably because it's a deduction, social deduction, secret, hidden agenda.
Yeah. We don't really have enough players for those games to really work.
Yeah, and I'm bad at them. I'm bad with my face. I could be wearing glasses and have a blank face, and you'd still know what I was thinking. I'm that bad.
I know. Sarah's that bad, too.
So I'm going to honorable mentions Warhammer 40K, the big game.
The big game?
Yeah, I want to get into that so much, but it's just too much again. And that's a lot of war games in general. The rules are written almost for people who already know how to play. It's not an easy entry game. And not having anybody around here that plays makes it difficult to get into it.
Yeah, those rule books just make me want to cry. I'm sorry.
Me too. So I've shifted to Kill Team instead, which is fine. I can buy like all of the Kill Team armies for the cost of one full army for Warhammer and have options there. I'm going to try to only get the ones that I really want, but...
what about Cursed City?
Oh, yeah. Cursed City is going on the... Yeah. That's one that GW in general is kind of like Fantasy Flight. They're really bad about some things. GW is kind of a little bit like Fantasy Flight in that they're really bad about how they handle their material, which is funny because they only have a few games to worry about, and they're not. But they are still trying to pump stuff out constantly, and it causes it to lack on the back end. The rules aren't written very well, and they have to go back and nerf things and buff things and constantly be bouncing back and forth. What that has to do with Cursed City is the fact they just kind of pushed it out, it seems. And it was a very limited run. So if you didn't get it in the first 24 hours, you were screwed. Which isn't... It's just bad business practice. Yeah. You're going to get a lot of money up front, but you're just creating a secondary market where people are going to take advantage of that and get a lot of money and hurt other people. And as a business, you'd want people buying your stuff, especially if you intend to expand on it. But it's a game that felt like they kind of rushed it a little bit because the rules were badly written, and there had like right from day one, I think they had a FAQ in errata because they realized how bad it was right away. And I don't want to have to re-download the entire rules book to be able to play the game.
I didn't even get it then.
Because I was really excited about it. It was another dungeon crawler style game, but not as heavy as like Star Wars or Gloomhaven.
Yeah.
And I think we got Blackstone Fortress shortly after that too.
Yes.
And that one's been out for a while, and it's a much older game. So it was in a time when GW actually cared just a little bit.
Yeah.
Although you can't get any of the expansions or anything for it anymore, but I think I'm okay with that. There's plenty enough to do with it that we can play it and have fun eventually.
Actually, I would say we haven't even started it yet. Don't have to worry about expansions.
Right. Then, is there anything else? Anything else that we forgot?
No. Cursed City was the only thing that wasn't on the list.
Which, back to Warhammer, honorable mention, I did sell my army and was supposed to be working on getting a second army, and that didn't happen, and then I made the shift to Kill Team. Oh,
yeah.
Darker, Darkest. That was another impulse buy from Miniature Market. It's another super sale. It was like $10. It was like $10, and you just added it on. It's a zombie survival game, and interesting.
Yeah.
Wasn't terrible, but not interesting enough to keep us
not interesting
invested.
Enough for us to play a second time. So we only played it once.
That's another one. I think it's a much smaller company that made it.
Yeah.
And is it not an American or English?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I don't know either. Didn't even think about looking into it, but that might have been part of the problem. But the rules were not complete. Like, not even written badly. Like, they're legitimately not complete. I don't know what we're doing with that one yet. It's downstairs in the basement. So, I don't think there's anything else at the moment. If there is, we'll just add it to the next one that we do whenever we do one of these again. So, like we said at the top, we are very selective about our games. Try not to be too terribly impulsive most of the time. I mean, there's only, 2 impulse games on here?
Yeah.
So, anyways, thanks for watching and or listening to us. As awesome as that's been. If you're on the YouTubes, check out the description for the links of how to support us and our social media and stuff. Never say that. Share this with a person that you would find it interesting. Hopefully, they'll get better as time goes on. We'll start talking about individual games and stuff.
I've been Lynne. He's been Bran.
And until next time, live to roll.
You're so mean.
Oh.